Hi, curl my hair with me while I discuss my favorite book I've read so far, Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Let's get into it. First, I want to say I'm a romance book hater. I really don't read any romance books. I don't like them. Something in Before I Let Go really changed my mind. The reason I don't like romance books is because a lot of times I feel like they're just really bizarre and they're not real life, and they always feel like some random world we've entered. I feel like in Before I Let Go, it was real. I feel like this book was written like just a good story with romance involved, which I appreciate. I feel like in this book, both characters had community. I feel like in romance, you rarely see characters where okay, they have their friends, they have their actual aunts and uncles, and then they have their this my auntie but not my auntie. I loved that in this book. And I appreciated that this book covered more than just Josiah and Yasmin's love. We talked about pain, we talked about therapy, we talked about disappointment, we talked about business. I really, really appreciated how it wasn't just love, love, love. It was no, we got to get this business off the ground. We got to take care of these kids. We got to tackle therapy. We tackled grief. It was a well-rounded book. And let's say you didn't care for Yasmin and Josiah. Let's say I don't like their love. There were still other things you could root for. For example, Soledad. I'm rooting for Soledad to leave her husband. I think that's what the second book is about. I'm on the list for the library for it, so I haven't got it yet. I think the second book is about Soledad. I'm rooting for Soledad to leave her husband. And then Hendrix. I really appreciated that in a romance novel, we had a woman who was over 30 and single and childless by choice. Love that. I love that Hendrix wasn't seen as lesser than, or something was wrong with her, or the fact that her whole thing was oh, I want a man, I want kids. No, she was focused on her career, focused on her friends, focused on herself. I really appreciated that. I feel like sometimes society can be very unkind to single women. They're always the hag. Hendrix got just as much love as Soledad, even though she was single. I really appreciated that. I really liked how this book, it was entertaining. I was turning them pages. Woo! I was turning them pages. I read 180 pages in one day. I stayed up until 2 a.m. reading. Wouldn't recommend, but I stayed up until 2 a.m. because I just needed to know what happened next. It was written so well, and it flipped between perspectives, and I appreciated that because I feel like sometimes I don't really know what men are thinking, I never know what men are thinking. This book had female friendships, it had community, it had single women, it had childless women. I really, really, really enjoyed this book, and it is one of my favorite reads I've read so far. It actually might be in my top 5 for the year, but we will circle back in December. Bye.